So we need to have a discussion. There's been a lot of national pundits that have been avoiding the conversation because they make their check off of the New York, LA, and Miami markets. There's been a conversation that's been avoided because if it had, that means the way we talk about NBA basketball has changed, perhaps for the foreseeable future. The NBA has been invaded by international dominance that we know. The NBA has had its players historically from an international level that have taken over the game, and we've always celebrated it because it was never a real threat to the throne. In the NBA, it was always Michael Jordan, it was always the great late Kobe Bryant, it was always LeBron James. But now, the two best players in the NBA, without a doubt, they wasn't born on American soil. What I'm seeing the last couple of years, it's not your average greatness. It's not your average all-star. What I'm seeing the last couple of years is historically great players, both who are aiming to have top 20 all-time careers when it's all said and done. And I'm talking about Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. For whatever reason, the media, ESPN, Fox Sports, they don't like having these conversations about these players. Even before Giannis Antetokounmpo won the Finals MVP and put up 50 points in the Game 6 and 4 straight wins against the Phoenix Suns, the way he was talked about was almost as if he was a great player, but what about all these flaws? He ain't really a part of that upper echelon yet, even if he has back-to-back MVPs, even if he is Defensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have a jump shot. You can build a wall to stop him. There's always this narrative about him. And then on top of that, he's a refugee. He's Grecian. Therefore, that's just not the kind of story that you always want to tell. And then let's not get started about Nikola Jokic, Sombor Serbia himself, the Serbian Splendor himself. This man, 41st pick in the second round in the 2014 NBA draft, the same round, the same draft class as Joel Embiid, the same draft class as Andrew Wiggins. Everybody thought that Nikola Jokic was just going to be a cast-off. Never thought he would make it, but not only did he make it, not only did he become an all-star, not only was he a top 10 player, he certified himself as one of the best 12 to 15 individual seasons of all time in the 2020 season, where the man put up 26, 11, and 8 at the center position. We've seen some crazy things, but what's happening right now is that Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are the two best players in the NBA, and nobody wanted to admit it. Nobody wanted to have that discussion. Nobody wanted to actually look at the advanced stats that had always painted Michael Jordan as the guy, that had always painted LeBron James as the guy. They wanted to avoid the conversation because the narrative is uncomfortable. But this is the thing. What Giannis Antetokounmpo is doing right now, he's having the best individual season of his career, which includes 2 MVP seasons. Nikola Jokic, and this is not hyperbole, this is not conjecture, as Shannon Sharp would say, this is facts. He's having arguably one of the single greatest seasons in NBA history, and nobody wants to admit it because it doesn't fit the narrative that Steph Curry's supposed to be the MVP because he got 3,000 3-point shots made, that Kevin Durant's supposed to be the MVP because he's playing in Brooklyn, New York. It doesn't fit the narrative because Joel Embiid is supposed to be this dominant monster. And again, these players are all having crazy seasons, including LeBron James, age 37, doing all the stuff he's doing, averaging over 30 points a game ever since he came back from injuries or COVID restrictions. But the facts are the facts are the facts. Nikola Jokic has the all-time record for PER right now. It was at 35 for a good portion of the season. He had a bunch more injuries, and he's sitting at 32.1. Greatest all-time PER. But guess what? Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31.9. Now, people are saying, well, what's the deal with PER? What does that actually mean? Does it actually affect basketball? Player efficiency rating is nothing but a cumulative stat that totals everything you do from a basketball standpoint, plus your efficiency. So all the box score, all the raw data, plus the efficiency in which you play and the effect you have on the game, and it puts it all together and says, this is the quality of player you are. And those two right now are playing ahead of Bud Hills. Joel Embiid is doing really well, 20 29.4 PER. Great. Not as close as he was last season. I think he had like a 30.3. But the other two, 31.9 and 32.1, we're on another level. Right now, if you look at Basketball Reference, the way they have their tiers in box plus minus written out, the box plus minus stats in Basketball Reference show that if you're having a season that is over an 8, meaning in box plus minus, that's an MVP level season. So there's one player that's close to that right now. That's Joel Embiid. And then you got a couple players sitting in 8 right now. And those players are LeBron James sitting at 8.5. And then before he got hurt, Jimmy Butler sitting at 8.9. Jimmy Butler was having a crazy season. But they don't have the best numbers in box plus minus. Again, box plus not minus, what it does, it takes your total contribution as a player, offensively and defensively, and it adds it up together to put one cumulative stat together to tell the story. And right now, Nikola Jokic has the all-time highest box plus minus of 13.4 with an 8.8 offensive box plus minus, which is by far the best in the NBA. Number 2 is Giannis Antetokounmpo, 7.2. He has a 4.6 box plus minus, which is tied for number 1 overall with Draymond Green. If you don't think Jokic plays defense, go watch basketball. Go watch the actual games, and you'll see yourself. I asked my homeboy Nikias, who Twitter podcast legend, writer, I asked him. I said, yo, what's up? Tell me. You think he's going to get any votes this year for All-NBA? He said no. But that's the thing. The fact of the matter is for All-NBA defense. The fact that I'm even asking that question, the fact that you can even ask the question, is Nikola Jokic going to get any All-NBA defensive votes, goes to show you that this dude is taking another step as a defender. He's not Draymond Green. He's not Rudy Gobert. He might not all the way be Miles Turner when it comes to blocking shots at the rim, but in terms of his deflection, foot placement, pace, the Denver Nuggets play at an elite level defensively when he's on the court, and they play at a terrible level when he's off the court. But here's the thing. If you have a score of over 10 in a box plus minus section, that means you're having an all-time season. Think peak Jordan or think peak LeBron. Right now, Jokic is sitting at a 13.4, which is, again, the best ever. Goes to show you this is not your regular year. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo is right there at 11. He has an 11.0 box plus minus with an offensive box plus minus of 7.2, second in the NBA. And he has a defensive box plus minus of 3.8, which is third in the NBA. And both of them are leading the NBA in value over replacement player. Nikola Jokic is at 4.5, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is at 3.8. Now, what do those stats mean? Value over replacement player means if you substitute this player for a regular player, your average NBA player, this player is giving you 4.5 more per wins, 4.5 wins more, or 3.8 wins more than your regular average player. And when you consider that, the Nuggets are hurt as they are and have the record they do, that's outstanding. Both of them are shooting crazy from the field. Nikola Jokic has a true shooting of 64%. Giannis Antetokounmpo has a true shooting of 61.8%. But how about this? Per 100 possessions. It gives you an accurate count. If every player had 100 possessions, what would their numbers be right now? Right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo is number 1 in the NBA with points per 100 possessions. 42.4 points per possession. Nikola Jokic is 5th. He's 4th in the NBA, rather, at 38.8 points per possession. Both of them are top 5 scorers in the NBA elite. Right now, and again, I know offensive and defensive rating is a touch-and-go stat, but again, it gives you an idea. It paints the picture. Right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo has an offensive rating of 121.0. Nikola Jokic has an offensive rating of 121.0. Giannis Antetokounmpo has a defensive rating of 102.0, and Nikola Jokic has a defensive rating of 102.0. Both of them mean when they're on the court, the offense is flying off the handle, and when they're on the court defensively, they're stopping the competition, holding them to a below league average in scoring. It's crazy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Right now, if you put the numbers together per 100 possessions, Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 42 points per game, 17 rebounds a game, and 9 assists per 100 possessions. So rather, 42, 17, and 9 per 100 possessions. Nikola Jokic, though, 38.8 points per 100 possession, 21.2 rebounds per 100 possessions, and 10.6 assists per 100 possessions. I mean, I'm saying, y'all, this is outrageous what we are seeing from these players. They're touching a stratosphere that we haven't quite yet experienced. It's outrageous, man. And people ain't talking about it. And what I don't understand is how would you, for your own good, not acknowledge what is happening in the NBA, even if they're international players. These dudes are on another level. I think clear and cut is Nikola Jokic, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then it's everybody else currently this season, bar none. Kevin Durant's playing great, not better than them. LeBron James is playing great, not better than them. Luka Doncic, James Harden, Joel Embiid, go up and down the list. They are separating themselves on a game-by-game basis. Yesterday, recording this on January 14th, right before MLK holiday on the 17th, yesterday, Giannis Antetokounmpo goes out and plays against the Warriors without Draymond Green, goes and plays against the Warriors and blows them out for a 30, 11, and 11 triple-double. Like, again, man, we need to have a different conversation about what best player in the NBA is. Just because Giannis doesn't have the traditional shooter, step-back, three-pointer game, it doesn't mean he's not a great player. It doesn't mean he's not a historically great player. And it doesn't mean you got to push back on him because he doesn't necessarily look or sound like you want him to sound, even though he does. I think in a lot of ways, Giannis Antetokounmpo fits a prototype. He's a banger, he's a slasher, he's a dunker. People love it. He's a highlight machine. But even still, doesn't get the love he should get in Milwaukee. And Nikola Jokic, he looks like he's white, he's slow in people's minds. He doesn't have the body type of a dominant player or dominant big in the NBA. But the fact of the matter is, can't nobody do nothing with him. You listen to every away announcer and the way they talk about Jokic, it's literally they don't know what to do with him. Right now, the Denver Nuggets had a rotation before Marcus Howard got back. PJ Dozier's out, Murray's out, MPJ is out, Will Barton was out for a little bit. They were having a rotation of James Ennis on a 10-day contract, Davon Reed, 10-day contract. They were bringing in Vlatko Cancar to get great minutes with Jokic, hoping he was going to give him a little bit of stuff on defense. Like, they were playing with nothing but role players. He is playing with the best player on his team, is Aaron Gordon, who's a great player, but he's a utility player. He's a maximized utility player. He's not a scorer giving you 25 points per game. He's a great defender, but you can't ask Aaron Gordon to do that. But he's doing this, and he's still 21-19 through 40 games without no help, no other All-Star on his team. And the thing about Jokic that people don't realize, Nikola Jokic isn't playing with any other All-Star, and he has never played with another All-Star in his career. He has the least amount of help of all the MVP candidates in Joel Embiid, who's had Ben Simmons his whole time, and his team is healthy. Ben Simmons hasn't played this year, but he's played previously for all these years. He's never played with another All-Star in Nikola Jokic. He doesn't have as much help as Giannis Antetokounmpo does with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. He doesn't have as much help as LeBron James with Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. Everybody complaining about Russell Westbrook. Guaranteed Russell Westbrook would still be one of the second or third best players in the Nuggets right now. That's where they are. They don't have the guard depth without Jamal Murray being in there. When Will Barton is out, they're out of luck. Austin Rivers and Facundo Campazzo. And then on top of that, you add it in, keep going. Kevin Durant has Kyrie Irving and James Harden. So we're not even talking about the same thing. Jokic doesn't have the help that other people does, and yet he's still not just playing this well, he's shooting so efficiently, shooting 56% from the field, and he's doing everything for his team. On the raw data, 25.5 points per game, 14 rebounds a game, 7 assists a game, while shooting an effective field goal percentage of 61%, shooting 63% from twos this season. He's shooting 56 to almost 57% all around from the field. He's shooting 36% from the three-point line, and he's shooting 78% from the free throw line. Like I said, it's unbelievable. And again, going to Giannis Antetokounmpo is 28.5 points a game, 11.5 rebounds a game, 6.1 assists per game on an effective field goal percentage of 57.3. And he's shooting 61% from two. Not great three-point shooter, but again, that's not his game, man. So the fact that you're getting this kind of scoring from these players, this kind of defense from these players, matter of fact, I got it wrong. Effective field goal percentage for Nikola Jokic this season is 61%. 61% effective field goal percentage, y'all. Like, again, why are we not having a greater conversation about what Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo are doing? Both of those players, if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, you should be celebrating Giannis, you should be celebrating Jokic because they're both cut from the same cloth. They don't want all the spotlight. They don't want all the media attention. They want to give their best to their cities, to their families, to their hometowns. And they do what they do, and they represent their people, represent the culture. Same thing with Nikola Jokic. If you're a Denver Nuggets fan, you should be a Giannis Antetokounmpo fan because both of them are great and they're doing it the right way without complaining, and they're doing everything they can to will their teams to victory. And hopefully, we get the all-time series that I think many of us would enjoy that are real basketball fans. We would love to see Nikola Jokic versus Giannis Antetokounmpo in the NBA Finals. Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic. And then on top of that, you get Pat Connaughton, you get Drew Holiday, you get Chris Middleton, you could put Bobby Portis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, you could put Lopez, whoever you want. That would be amazing homegrown NBA Finals with the best players in the NBA, with probably the best 2 5-man units in the NBA when they're all said and done, when it's healthy, offensively and defensively. I just really wish that we would just show love to these players. They're doing so many amazing, historically great things. Both of them setting advanced stats records out the yin yang. And it's just amazing how much love they don't get. But that's why we have this channel. That's why we're even having this conversation. They're number 1 and 2 in all-time PER right now, y'all. Like, that's why we're doing this. Right now, Jokic's at 32.12 PER, and Giannis Antetokounmpo's at 31.88. Like, it's unreal. That's why we have this channel, because we can talk about what needs to be talked about. We can talk about the players we want to talk about. We can celebrate basketball. We can talk it and keep it 100. I love all these players in the NBA, but you got to give it to them. Right now, these are the best. As simple as that. Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, y'all. Y'all, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you press the like button. Share the video. Let the Bucks fans know what time it is. This is the Giannis Antetokounmpo channel. Let the Nuggets fans and the Serbian fans and the Greece fans and everybody, let them know. Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, this is the channel to be to get your true storm for the NBA, y'all. Swipa gang. I'm going to see y'all soon.